Thanks so much for joining us here on the CBN News Channel. I'm Ephraim Graham. It has been a tense week in the Midwest with millions watching the skies for ominous storm clouds. The threat of tornadoes has stress levels high in many communities, including Moore, Oklahoma, where residents are still recovering from the massive tornado that struck last week. Tornado season got off to a late start this year, but it seems to be making up for lost time, with more than 1,000 reports of severe weather over the last 2 weeks. Overnight, reports of several tornadoes across the Midwest. A storm chaser caught this dramatic video of the tornado that touched down in York, Nebraska. And this video shows roofs torn off buildings from a tornado that hit the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. These black storm clouds have residents in those areas continuing to brace for the worst. Forecasters say the cities in most danger of seeing tornadoes today are Kansas City, Tulsa, and Oklahoma City. Residents of Moore, Oklahoma are working to clean up the damage from the EF5 twister that hit them last week. And they're also keeping their eyes on the sky, fearful of another devastating storm.
Replaying it all in your head of what happened that day, just over and over again, and it's not going away.
Counseling services are being offered for free in Moore and other surrounding communities hit by recent tornadoes. Operation Blessing is also on the ground in Moore, helping residents cope and pick up the pieces.
After 2 days, your emotions really start to drop. And there are people like Operation Blessing and Home Depot where I work and different organizations, churches that are here to help us. That lifts our spirits so much. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be anything but just a hug. And it lifts your spirits, your emotions. And for that, I'm forever grateful.
Volunteers are handing out Home Depot gift cards and working with residents to clear debris. They're also providing those all-important hugs and spiritual support through prayer. Meanwhile, flooding continues to be a problem from Oklahoma to Illinois, and forecasters warn more rain is on the way. Strong thunderstorms are expected for St. Louis and Chicago into the weekend. The Arizona mother jailed in Mexico and accused of drug smuggling has now been released. A Mexican judge dismissed the case against the Mormon mother of 7. Military guards had arrested Yanira Maldonado, saying they found 12 pounds of marijuana under her seat aboard a bus headed from Mexico to Arizona. Those guards never showed up to testify in court, and security footage showed Maldonado and her husband boarding the bus with only blankets, bottles of water, and a purse.
I'm very grateful that I'm free, that for my family, my children, and special thanks to my lawyer. My situation was extended to the whole world, and I thank you for that.
Yanira's husband believes the guards were after a bribe. The first churches are beginning to opt out over the Boy Scouts' new policy on gay scouts, and plans for an alternative organization are unfolding. What's not clear, just how many faith-based scout troops will leave. Heather Sells has the latest.
Disenchanted scout leaders and others in the faith community will meet next month to form a new organization for boys. The alternative to scouting operates under this website right now, but could have any name. Organizers say the program will be Christ-centered, non-denominational, and provide a safe haven for those who want to leave the Scouts.
We know that thousands of churches around the country are considering this right now as we speak.
Because churches sponsor 70% of Scout units, they are considered key to its future. But so far, it's not clear just how many will leave. The largest faith-based sponsor, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, says it will stay. Another large sponsor, the Catholic Church, is reserving judgment for now. But the Southern Baptist Convention is expected to recommend next month that its 47,000 churches pull out. In the meantime, they are beginning to slip away one by one. In Alabama, First Baptist pastor Greg Walker says Troop Number 2 will no longer meet at his church.
To be a member or to be an organization or a ministry of the church, you have to align with what the Bible actually aligns with.
Some Eagle Scouts like Bill Bright are also taking a stand, returning their badges in protest over the new policy.
I don't see that fitting into the example that I knew and loved as a Boy Scout at all.
Bright, like many others, believes the new policy will harm boys in generations to come. Heather Sells, CBN News.
To silence religious freedom is to silence the moral conscience of America. That is the word from Reverend Samuel Rodriguez speaking at Thursday's annual Religious Freedom Conference in Washington. Rodriguez is president of the Hispanic Evangelical Association, but he spoke to peoples of all faiths at the conference, calling on them to come together to build a firewall against, quote, unprecedented attempts by the government to violate religious liberty. He said recent actions by the IRS targeting Christian groups and the HHS birth control mandate are examples of the dangerous road America is traveling.
I never would have believed in my generation that I would see this taking place. So silence is not an option. Today's complacency will lead to tomorrow's captivity. And religious freedom stands as the womb by which all the other liberties emerge and flourish.
Reverend Rodriguez says Uncle Sam needs to be reminded he may be our earthly uncle, but he is not and never will be our Heavenly Father. Graduation season is in full swing at schools across the nation. Many grateful seniors want to thank God, but many school administrators worry they might violate the so-called separation of church and state. Our Paul Strand clears up the confusion.
During World War II. As high schools nationwide get ready for graduation ceremonies, some seniors may face threats or lawsuits if they mention God or their faith during graduation speeches. But the message from lawyer Jeff Mateer is, don't be afraid.
Any student who's been asked to speak at graduation should know this, that the school district cannot tell them not to mention their religious faith.
For example, in 2011, valedictorian Angela Hildenbrand faced a judge's threat to throw her in jail.
The court's order said that there could be incarceration if anybody mentioned Jesus or said amen during the speeches.
But as Liberty Institute's Justin Butterfield points out, a federal appeals court disagreed.
And the Fifth Circuit said, no, it's okay for her to do that. It's her private student speech, and she's allowed to say whatever she wants, and you can't discriminate against her message just because it's religious.
And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Mateer says schools and school districts need to back off students who share their faith.
They can't tell them to pray or not to pray. They can't tell them to mention Jesus or not mention Jesus.
And if students are threatened, they should go to a group like the American Center for Law and Justice or Liberty Institute.
Because we will fight for them.
There's a lot of these situations that look really bad, but when Christians stand up and fight for what they believe in and fight for the truth, that we win in the courts. And a lot of the reason we've lost so much ground is just because Christians haven't been willing to fight.
Liberty Institute here in Texas has been involved in enough graduation cases to let students know this. In their graduation speeches, they can talk about God, Jesus, whatever religious matter, and their schools or school districts cannot stop them. They do not lose their religious rights when they enter the schoolhouse door. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Plano, Texas.
The Mobile, Alabama City Council blocked the expansion of an Islamic center. Opponents called the move a case of religious discrimination. But council members say the decision was made because of parking and traffic, not theology. The center is located near the University of South Alabama, already a congested area. The president of the Islamic Center plans to seek legal help to appeal the city council's decision. A 13-year-old New York student has won this year's National Spelling Bee.
Canado. May I have the language of fortune, please?
German-derived Yiddish.
No way.
Now be careful.
He joked that that is a blessing indeed. He spelled correctly the word Canadal to win the 86 tournament that tests brain power, composure, and knowledge of vocabulary.
Canadal. K-N-A-I-D-E-L. Canadal.
Aubrey Mancali takes home $30,000 and a massive trophy. Coming up, devastating violence in Iraq. Is the country melting down, and how is it affecting what's left of the Christian community?
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 U.S. gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? And this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
From CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum, you and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook.
No.
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't! They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry. Mary is about to lose her son. The worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is Risen. Available now.
The Syrian regime of Bashar Assad just got a big boost from Russia. Assad says a Russian arms shipment has arrived, and that may include sophisticated Russian anti-aircraft missiles. Those long-range S-300 missiles would be a game changer with big implications for Israel. Israel recently launched an airstrike near Damascus, targeting shipments of advanced weapons intended for Hezbollah. Assad is warning he will retaliate to any future Israeli airstrike. Meanwhile, the terrorist group Hezbollah is ramping up its fight on behalf of the Assad regime. And the UN Security Council has officially labeled one of the rebel groups called al-Nusra as a front group for al-Qaeda. The Vatican representative to the United Nations says 100,000 Christians around the world are killed every year for their faith. In an address to the UN Human Rights Council this week, Archbishop Silvano Tomasi said, quote, credible research has reached the shocking conclusion that an estimate of more than 100,000 Christians are violently killed because of some relation to their faith every year. Other Christians and other believers are subjected to forced displacement, to the destruction of their places of worship, to rape, and to the abduction of their leaders. Silvano said many of these attacks take place in the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. Iraq is awash in violence. More than 500 people have been killed there in just the last month. It's mostly Muslim against Muslim right now, but it also affects Christians. Greg Musselman of the Voice of the Martyrs Canada is just back from Baghdad. CBN's George Thomas spoke with him about the situation there.
Civil war could happen at any time, and it really appears that it's descending into that. And because of what's going on now with the bombings of markets, roadside bombs, those kinds of things, there's a lot of fear there, definitely. You know, the believers there are scared. Yet, the other hand, there are many that are willing to stay and advance the gospel. But definitely the church there has been decimated.
This is Muslim on Muslim, Shia versus Sunni, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's you've got your radical elements of both those groups. You've got Al-Qaeda, you've got all these other groups that are bombing each other. Of course, the Christians get caught in the middle. The reality is many of the Christians have left the country.
I've reported on this over the years since the war in Iraq. The reality is that Saddam Hussein was good for the Christians. He protected them. But now with him gone, it's a free-for-all in the country, and as you said, the Christians are caught in the crossfire.
You've got a very strong dictatorship, like Saddam Hussein, who protected the church in a sense. For those that are trying to follow the Great Commission and advance the gospel and the kingdom of God, even under Saddam's time, there was difficulty if they were advancing the gospel. Maybe not so much from the government, but from their families and from, Muslim leaders.
As you mentioned, there's been a mass exodus of Christians. Tell us about the Christians you met in Iraq who are staying. Why have they decided to stay, and how are they affecting their country?
Well, I asked one pastor who had been an associate pastor in Baghdad. Now, he's up in Erbil in the Kurdistan area. And I said, look, you've got maybe 200,000, maybe more Christians that are still left, but majority have left, over 1 million. And I said, how do you feel about that? He says, well, there's still 30 million that need to be reached. And so we're seeing, new churches, evangelical churches that are starting up, church plants, house churches are becoming very popular through Baghdad, Mosul, even up into the Kurdistan area, and even south places like Karbala, which is a Shiite stronghold. So they're doing great work. God has called them there, and so they want to stay. And the Lord is working. Many Muslims are having dreams and visions of Jesus. People are coming to know Christ. And so in the midst of a shrinking church, you have this sort of dichotomy. There are some that the Holy Spirit has definitely spoken to that they're supposed to stay.
Greg, real quick question. There is some talk about cutting up Iraq into different partitions. The Christians have for a long time said, listen, we need our own enclave. We need our own protection, our own police force that are manned by Christians. Is that still gaining any traction?
Because they have become such a small minority. They were small before, but now they're just minuscule, so the chances of having their own area is very, very small. I would think the Christians are in a very, very difficult and precarious position.
It's a tragic, tragic situation. So thankful that you are back safely. Greg Musselman of the Voice of the Martyrs, based in Canada. So thank you for your insights. Always good to have you on the show.
Thanks, George. And let's continue to pray for Iraq and for our brothers and sisters in that country.
Up next, chia pets. You've seen them advertised on TV, but did you know that chia is also a superfood? You have to see it to believe it.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance. and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Doctors say staying healthy and living longer is mainly a matter of eating the right foods. And now they're raving about a new superfood, chia. The same chia, believe it or not, as in Chia Pets. Lori Johnson has the story.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows.
For years, Chia Pets have been tickling our funny bone. You spread chia seeds on a toy animal, the seeds grow and look like hair. It turns out, instead of laughing at chia seeds, we should have been eating them. They're incredibly healthy, to the extent that chia is the new superfood. Most of us have never heard of eating chia seeds, but the idea is actually very old. In fact, hundreds of years ago, Aztec warriors ate chia seeds to stay strong in battle. Now, chia is the cornerstone of Dr. Bob Arnott's Aztec diet.
Most people on a diet complain about this brain-searing hunger. I mean, they are always miserably hungry. So, the advantage here is that with chia, you put it in your stomach and it grows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times its size in your stomach. It was described by one magazine as mini lap band surgery.
At just 70 calories, these remarkable little seeds bring you 6 times more calcium than milk, 3 times more iron than spinach, and 8 times the omega-3s found in salmon.
In the brain, you need a certain amount of omega-3 fatty acids to feel good. We know that there are studies of depression and manic depressive illness where patients who have lots of omega-3 fatty acids do better. It's even used as part of some treatment regimens.
Chia also contains magnesium, selenium, fiber, and protein. That's important because, believe it or not, overweight people are often malnourished. In fact, that's how we get fat. We stuff ourselves with junk food thinking it will satisfy our needs. But the truth is, it's only when we get enough micronutrients that we finally stop wanting more food.
You know, we're not getting the minerals and vitamins and antioxidants that we need in our diet. So with our burgers and fries and whatnot, and eating all this stuff, we're not getting them. And so our body is always hungry for these micronutrients, always kind of like fiddling and trying to get it. And we make it some more chips and French fries and whatnot, and we never get it. So we massively overeat.
Mostly, we eat too many refined carbohydrates found in sweets like desserts and starches like breads. They raise our blood sugar, which makes us want more.
But if you have big blocks like rice cakes, pancakes, bagels, white bread, French toast, you have a big carb load, and that is the primary reason that so many of us are overweight and have diabetes. Studies out of Harvard Medical School show that if you drop that carb load, your fasting blood sugar is going to come down and the weight is going to come off.
Eating too many of these carbohydrates not only makes us fat, it can also lead to disease. The sugar and starch overload causes inflammation, which is blamed for health problems ranging from heart attacks to cancer.
But the key thing about inflammation, which we're getting from our diet, is it affects our brain. And it affects the neurotransmitters in there, so we feel just plain terrible. And it's the main reason that people who are overweight, they don't have the motivation, they're not fired up, they can't get out, they can't exercise because they feel terrible.
So by avoiding those carbs, you'll reduce inflammation, lose weight, and feel more energetic. Refined carbohydrates are also low in nutrition and high in calories. So replace them with foods that are just the opposite, low in calories but high in nutrition. Foods like chia. More grocery stores and health food stores are carrying chia, or you can buy it online. A 1-pound bag usually costs about $12. The mostly flavorless seeds can be added whole or ground to just about any food or drink. Dr. Arnott mixes a 1/4 cup with 2 other superfoods, blueberries and kale, along with Greek yogurt, honey, and water for a meal he says can be life-changing.
So you have the smoothie, and with that, your inflammation goes like this, your glucose load goes like this, you feel full and your brain feels amazingly great. Right away. It's not a matter of, a week or two. Within 6 hours, you will feel the difference.
So by replacing refined carbohydrates with foods high in nutrients and low in calories, you'll be on the road to weight loss, increased energy, and quite possibly a longer life. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new Grip Go, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and Grip Go grabs your phone ultra fast. Then it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of Grip Go. You can get the amazing Grip Go with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete Grip Go systems for just $14.95.
To order Grip Go for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Memorial Day has passed, but it's never too late to honor and celebrate our troops. Recently, a World War II pilot got to relive some special memories 69 years later. 93-year-old Chester Bowers flew 35 missions over Europe in his B-17 bomber during World War II. Now, 69 years later, he got to fly in a B-17 bomber once again, only this time it was more meaningful because his grandson came along. Bowers says the experience brought back some heavy emotions.
Get a feeling of warmth, and I feel like missing the crew. We were like brothers, pretty tight bond, because we lived through some pretty terrific experiences and some dull experiences.
During the war, the sight of the B-17 bombers was a sign things were turning in the Allies' favor. All of Bowers' missions took place between March and June of 1944, including 2 on D-Day. We honor him indeed. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of the CBN News Channel. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And take the time to tell us what you think on Facebook as well as Twitter. Have a great weekend.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. all the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.